Today in this video, I'm going to give you an overview of our Yamaha CL1 console. This console has 48 mono inputs, it has 8 stereo inputs, it has 24 mixes, and 8 matrix outputs. Yamaha's CL series of consoles comes with Dante networking already built in, so you don't have any extra cards to buy. It just works right out of the box. Let's take a quick look at the console. On the CL1, you get 2 banks of 8 faders, and you get 2 master faders. In your first bank here, you get layers to access your 48 mono channels, you get a layer to access your stereo channels, you have a layer for your DCA groups, and you have a custom layer where you get to include any channels that you need quick access to. So you can put your pastor here so that they'll always be available in this custom layer all the time. In your second bank of faders, you also get access to all of your mono and stereo inputs. You have more custom groups. You also have access to your DCAs, your mixes, and your matrix outputs. All of that's controlled by your central logic bank. When you select one of your layers here on the central logic section, that layer appears on your screen, so you have quick access to all of the layers that you need. If you're familiar with Yamaha's M7 series or the LS9 series, you're used to seeing the user-defined keys. They're still here on this console, on this series, but now included, in addition to the user-defined keys, you now have 4 user-defined knobs. These, just like the keys, are fully customizable, and anything that you would use any knob on any channel to change the parameter of, you can now do that with a user-defined knob. Yamaha has just released an update to their firmware, and inside of that, when you update your console, you'll see there's a lot of new changes. I can show you some of those here real quick. With your EQ, when you update your firmware, you'll see that you have a new drop-down menu in your EQ. Your regular EQ that you've always been used to on the Yamaha consoles is now called Legacy. We're now old. They've added 3 new EQ, they call them algorithms, but different types of EQ to your console. You now have a smooth, an aggressive, and a precise. And so each of these has different tonal qualities. The aggressive one, when you boost or cut a frequency, it makes very dramatic cuts and it affects the frequencies around it. And when you do the precise, it's very clean. You cut a frequency and it only affects the frequencies that you're cutting. And so it gives you a lot more tools in your toolbox in ways that you can craft a sound that's special to you. You can change that to each channel, can have its own type of EQ on every channel. So that's a really good addition that they've made. They've also added a new premium plugin, Multiband Compressor. They've always had a multiband compressor here in their regular rack, but it was really hard to use. It just had lots of knobs and it was just really overwhelming, and I never used it just because it was way too overwhelming to me and didn't make sense. And so if you go under your premium rack, they now have a multi-band compressor in the premium rack that's visual. It shows you how much you're cutting, how much you're boosting, how much compression is happening on each part of your EQ there. And so this is going to be super helpful. I think people have been wanting this for a long time. So this will be another tool that you can use that I'm really excited to get in and listen to and use a lot. One of the biggest updates that Yamaha has included with their new firmware is they've created an iOS app called Monitor Mix. And what this allows you to do is to give control over your mixes in the console to the musicians and singers on your stage. So if you have musicians, singers that are using wireless in-ears, that are coming out of a mix on your console, this gives you the ability to give them control over their own mix. So here, I'll show you how this works. I'm going to get my iPad out here and open up the app. My mixer will show up on the app. We'll just click that real quick, hit connect, and then it pops up asking you to enter a pin. So the engineer in the console gets to set the pin for the console so that only the people that you want to give access to the console have access. Then it shows me all of my mixes here. So each musician will go in and select their mix or their matrix or however you have it set up in your console. And so whatever you name your mixes is what will show up here. You can't really see it on camera, but when you select it there, I'll pretend to be the drummer today. All of us engineers wish we were drummers, right? It's going to sync with my console, and then boom, here are all the channels on the console, and I can scroll across here, and we'll see all the channels that I could pick and put in my mix. And so what we have here is our snare drum, so I can come in here and grab the snare drum, turn it up or down, and I'll show you this here on the console. If I go to sends on fader mode and see my drum mix here, you can see that it happens in real time. It's real super fast, really smooth, and so now your musicians and your singers, especially if they're on wedges, your singers, they get to pick their own mix it themselves the way that they want. It's going to save engineers a lot of time during sound check and during rehearsals as you're trying to make those tweaks and those changes. Now you put that power in the hands of your singers, and they get to make the mix that they want to have, and it's going to really speed up and eliminate a lot of that back and forth trying to get your singers happy. They get to have it exactly like they want, just like everybody else that would have an Aviom. Now they get to have it their own. So I think this is going to be a huge game changer in the way that us engineers handle sound check and rehearsal. So that's our overview of the CL series consoles. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. We'd love to hear from you and see what features you have questions about. If you've updated your console and you've used the new firmware, what do you think about it? We think it's really awesome. So leave us a comment or questions below. We'd love to talk to you. Again, I'm Sean from AGI. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.